May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be pleasing in your sight, O Lord, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Amen. Please be seated. So the other day, we were sitting as a staff talking about this dialect quiz that pinpoints what region of the United States that you're from. It's a quiz that figures out, just based on things like how you pronounce pecan or caramel, or do you say yard sale, rummage sale, garage sale? Do you say soda or pop? I say soft drink, which isn't even in the U.S. apparently. But I had this feeling as we were talking about it, it's just a weird feeling like I didn't belong, because I had moved from Jerusalem to Alabama, and then from Alabama to Los Angeles, and now I live in D.C. So there isn't a region here in the U.S. where I would fit into. But also even back home, I was born in a city called Haifa, and then I moved at a young age to Jerusalem. And even in Jerusalem, people would say, wait, where are you from? And I'm like, even though I grew up in Jerusalem, I was like, I'm from here. Like, no, you don't sound like you're from here. So I just had this feeling at the end of this, like, wow, there's no quiz that could pinpoint where I'm from. And it's just a slight feeling like I didn't belong. Isn't that so sad, right? And I wonder sometimes if you have ever felt like that. Just a slight feeling in some area of your life, like you don't belong. Maybe something related to your identity, or your politics, or your beliefs. Maybe you sit in here and you think, man, everyone else believes the same thing and I feel like I don't belong. Or maybe it's a defining experience that isn't shared by everyone around you. We know those defining experiences, like you lose a loved one, and all of a sudden it just feels like there's this chasm between you and the world around you. Or maybe it's a bullying at school situation. Or you have a close encounter with another culture, and then you come back and you feel like no one around you here gets it. Or maybe it's a military service that you've done, and you just feel disconnected from the rest of the world. Or maybe it's something else that's very personal to you in your life. Have you ever felt like you didn't quite belong? If so, in what area or areas of your life is that? Well, today's message is very simple and straightforward. It goes to the heart of what I think we strive for most here at St. John's. It's something that I hope that you felt, but I want to be explicit about it today. But before I tell you what that is, I want to hone in on the first sentence of the first reading we had this morning from 1 John. 1 John chapter 3 starts with these words, just the first sentence. See what love the Father has given us, that we should be called children of God, and that is what we are. The version that I'm more familiar with comes from the New International Version. And it says, how great is the love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children of God. And that is what we are. I'm going to say it 2 more times, and then the last time I'm going to have you repeat it with me. How great is the love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children of God, and that is what we are. Say it with me. How great is the love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children of God, and that is what we are. Now, clearly for the author, John, this insight, this truth is life-changing. I've been drawn to this verse for 25 years, and I still don't feel like I've even come close to comprehending these words and the impact that it could have on my life if I somehow could grasp their true significance. How great is the love the Father has lavished on us, that we should be called children of God, and that is what we are. So, I haven't been able to grasp this, but I feel like I did come a little closer a few weeks ago. Some of you may remember seeing this emotional moment in the news or on social media where an auditorium packed with students from the Albert Einstein College of Medicine in the Bronx erupts in euphoric and uncontrollable celebration when a former lifelong professor and current chair of the school board, Ruth Gottsman, announces that tuition for all students for all students present and future is going to be free. Free tuition forever. Gottsman's late husband left her an incredible fortune with a simple note. And the note said, "Do whatever you think is right with it." And so she donates $1 billion to cover all tuition expenses for this school that's located in New York's most poor borough, where students were graduating with disproportionately high levels of crippling debt. So she eliminates the tuition. PBS tells the story of a 23-year-old student from that school named Samuel. And the reason he went into medicine is because he wanted to provide medical services to people on the streets. That was his dream. But he quickly realized that as the son of immigrant parents and with no financial buffer, he would never be able to pay back his school loans if that was what he would do afterwards. So instead, he was in the process of making the switch to becoming a cardiologist instead, just so that he could pay back his loans. For Samuel, the impact of Gottsman's gift of making tuition free was that he was liberated to pursue what he actually felt called to do, was to do medicine so that he could help people on the streets in New York. The reason I find this story so powerful is because it's the story of hundreds of students like Samuel who were liberated to be who they were meant to be because of a gift. A lavish, unselfish, love-filled gift. How great is the love the Father has lavished on us that we should be called children of God, and that is what we are. When I sit with this and I contemplate it, I realize that the implication of being a child of God who is extravagantly loved means, on its most basic level, that I am home with God. I think of my own kids, for example. I think of what makes our home home for them. Is it the house? Is it our neighborhood? Is it their belongings? Probably all of these things to a certain extent. But what really makes it home for my kids is that they belong in my love as their parent. My love is their home. And what John is saying here is that God's love is our home. And so what I'm trying to say today to you is that you belong here. That's what I want to say. That's my point today. You belong here. God's love is our home. And what we're constantly striving for here at St. John's is to amplify that love so that you know whose you are and you know who you are. Because that kind of love puts to rest the anxious search for belonging. And it redirects our energy so that we are liberated to be who we were meant to be. You belong here. This is your home. So what does that mean practically? It means that you can rest here. It means that you can be yourself here. It means you can complain here if you need to. It's your home. It means you can cry here. It means that you can feel known and seen here. It means that you always have a place to return to here. That's what it means. You belong here. So let me ask you, do you feel like you belong here? Do you feel like you belong here? And if you don't, will you tell me? Now, there's one more thing that I want to say about belonging before I close. And I hope this is somewhat obvious, but belonging is different than having all of your preferences met. So I think that I grew up in a relatively emotionally healthy home. Did I wish that I didn't have to go to church every single Sunday of my life growing up? Yes. Did I wish that my parents let me do sleepovers like the rest of my friends' parents did? Yeah, of course. Did I wish that we had more money at times? Of course. But none of that even came close to touching my sense of belonging in my family. In the same way, this is a pretty big family. There's no question that there will be things that you wish you had more or less of here. Maybe the music is not your style. Or maybe there's something about the liturgy or the service times that you wish was different. Maybe what we focus on as a parish is not what you wish we were focusing on. Or maybe there are personalities in this family that are not your favorite. Welcome to family life. And we can always talk about that kind of stuff. But the one thing that I want you to know today is that you belong here and that you are loved.